So I'm going to share a Microsoft Excel spreadsheet. Tick, a green tick. So I'm going to hit green here. George, Banda George, you can hear fine. Patrick, Philippe, Zachariah. Yeah, that's great. So I see that most of you, Malenga, yeah, most of you can hear me fine. Can Malenga hear me okay? Yeah, Malenga can hear me okay. So thank you. I'm going to proceed then, and what we'll do first of all is I'm going to share a document here with you. So I'm going to share a Microsoft Excel spreadsheet. Okay, so I'm now sharing Microsoft Excel spreadsheet, and what I want to do is please ignore these values because these are going to be updated. And I'm going to look through your results. So I'm going to look one by one through the results that have been sent back. And I'm going to, for example, Francis has got 5 in the 1 category. So the 1 category, the total number of ones relates to visual learners. He has got 6 in the 2 category. That relates to auditory. And he has got 9 in the kinesthetic category. So based on that result, and this is only one method of suggesting our preferred learning style, I would suggest that Francis may prefer quite a lot of the time to be involved in kinesthetic learning. So he likes jumping in and exploring a computer application himself, and maybe prefers that better than listening or watching. But we also note that Francis has scored fairly high in all the categories, so depending on the application, Francis will want to use different types of input, visual, auditory and kinesthetic. So we put a 1 in there. And now we look at Malenka. Malenka, I've received yours okay now, so thank you. Total in number 1 is 13, total in 2 is 10, and total in 3 is 10. So again, scored very high in all of them. However, we're going to put visual as the preferred learning style. So I place a 1 in the visual box, and our little graph is updating, and you'll learn a bit more about creating graphs like this later. Zachariah has scored 9 in a total of 9 ones, a total of 6 2s, and a total of 8 3s. So again, it's very close. Zachariah, you've got high scores. You've scored close in all of them. The highest category is category 1, which brings our total to 2 visual learners. Phyllis, you have 6 in the 1 category, visual category, 3 in the auditory, and 6 in the kinesthetic. So this is an example of somebody, based on this questionnaire, Phyllis has both a visual and a kinesthetic preference. So I think I'll include both of those in my results. So I will enter a 1 because that's your joint top preference. So that becomes 3. And I'll also bring kinesthetic down here to 2. So you've scored 6 in visual and kinesthetic. So they would appear to be the way you prefer to learn. Philippe has scored a total of 6 ones, 5 2s, and 7 3s. So 6 visual, 5 auditory, and 7 kinesthetic. So it's very close, but we're going to put an extra 1 in our kinesthetic result, and that becomes 3. So at this point, nobody has indicated a preference for auditory, but there may be somebody, I'm sure, before we finish. So, Vanda George, you have 6 in the visual category, 8 in the auditory category, and 7 in kinesthetic. So we have a preference here for auditory. again, it's very close, and that indicates that you will have a preference for visual learning, auditory and kinesthetic, as we all do, depending on the application. But based on this survey, this questionnaire, you prefer auditory learning, so you prefer to listen. Patrick, your information to the results here, and Patrick has an 8 in the visual category, a 6 in the auditory, and an 8 in the kinesthetic. So an 8 in both visual and kinesthetic. So we'll assume then that you prefer both visual and kinesthetic equally. So we place an extra 1 here, becomes 4, and an extra 1 here becomes 4. And next I look at Pauline. Pauline has 10 in the first category. That's 10 visual statements are ticked. 9 in the second category. 9 auditory. And 6 in the third. So that is 6 kinesthetic. So 10, 9, and 6. So we'll put an extra 1 in visual because this suggests that Pauline prefers visual learning, but also strongly prefers auditory as well. And finally, we look at Obedient, and Obedient has scored 11 in the first category, which is the visual category, has scored 11 in the auditory, which is the second category there, and also has scored 11 in the third. So Obedient is an example of someone who prefers all styles of learning equally. That would suggest from this survey. So I can't say if she prefers visual over auditory or kinesthetic over visual, but I can only say that there's a strong preference for all of them. So what I do is we'll put a 1 in each category. So 5 becomes 6.
Go over lunch or?
1 becomes 2.
Right. Okay. Sure. See ya.
And that actually completes our, based on the back questionnaire, I have taken all your results, I have placed them into Microsoft Excel spreadsheet, and where somebody has expressed a preference for both visual and kinesthetic, I've recorded that twice. So I've put an extra 1 in the visual category and in the kinesthetic, and in the case of Obedient there, who have just looked at, if somebody had the same number in each category, I recorded that here because I would want to cater for all categories of learning for that student. So that brings our total of 9 questionnaires have been returned, and in cases where there were 2 or 3, learning preference, receiving an equal, both were included in the tally above.